Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our February call for KC Leadership. This is Matt Clifford, your National KC Director. Hope everybody is doing well. And sorry, we're a couple minutes late joining, but that we're just allowing extra time for other people to join online. I hope everybody had a chance to review the agenda in advance and/or it's also posted on the GoToWebinar site. So hopefully I've been able to access that and are able to follow along at home, as it were. This would typically be the time when I would turn it over to Stephanie to talk about any technology. Monica, do you feel prepared to address the technology that we'll be using today?
Sure, I do. So you should see you should on your screen be able to view a GoToWebinar control panel. There's an orange arrow that allows you to kind of minimize or bring that back out. All participants are muted unless I unmute you. So don't worry about that. So I'll unmute each person as we ask them to speak about something. If you have a question, you'll see the question section of the control panel. So please just type your question in there, and I'll keep track of that as we go through the meeting. As we sometimes GoToWebinar can be a little bit wonky if you have a lot of other applications open. I admit I have a lot of applications open right now, and it's working just fine. But if you find that things are a little bit sluggish, that might be a reason why. So you might want to minimize some other applications. But otherwise, I think we're good to go.
Great, thanks so much. I have no less than like 12 tabs open on my web browser, which is pretty far for the course, I'd say, and probably for many of you. So hopefully everybody can hear me all right as we move through our agenda. So the first item on the agenda is, and hopefully this is probably a little bit overdue, but I want to a warm welcome to our newest KC in the KC family, which is the formerly incarcerated students and system impacted families KC. That short is FISIF, which is the first. So this thing, I think Stephanie King pointed this out. It's our first KC, I believe, first KC that is also a palindrome, which is noteworthy and really exciting. But aside from that, it is we have the opportunity every fall at the winter board meeting, and we have a process that we've established to create opportunities for new KCs to be presented and proposed to the board for consideration. And Stephanie and Monica and I worked closely with the new KC chairs for the formerly incarcerated students and system impacted families KC, and that's Melissa Abeta and Joe Luis Hernandez. And Joe and Melissa, again, we worked really closely with both of them to get this KC presented to the board. I think it is an exciting opportunity for the KC to be able to move into this space, to be able to, again, be able really to create knowledge around formerly incarcerated students and system impacted families, to create a space for professionals who are working in this area, and really to elevate all of our understanding of the issue facing these students and their families as well in this work. So I'm really, again, just want to offer a warm welcome to Joe and Melissa and to the KC broadly. And this will be a new KC. At one point, all of our KCs were new KCs, and some of you are on the call today are leaders of newer KCs, and so I think you understand what that looks like, and the excitement that surrounds getting a new KC off the ground, some of the challenges that you face. And so I encourage you either electronically or in person when we are together in either Austin at the annual conference or at the Connected conference to reach out to Joe and Melissa to offer your help and assistance for them. Additionally, I think it just shows the value of the KC program as a whole, that it is it's extremely malleable, and we have the opportunity through the KC program to create space for, again, emergent issues. However, if the field is moving in a particular way, and there's a groundswell of interest in a particular topic or a particular set of students or student issues, then really I believe the KC program is a space where we can generate interest and really create a group to focus on that in a really, really exciting way. So I think it's just a good example. I've always eager to see how the KC program moves and shifts. And sometimes that means KC's, will leave, and that's totally natural. And sometimes that means the new KCs join us. So again, really excited, and welcome to Joe and Melissa. Are there any questions for me about the new KC?
No questions that have been typed in, Matt.
All right. Well, again, welcome. Next item on the agenda is the spring board report. And so that is, thanks to all of you who have submitted those. If you have not yet submitted those, please get that to me as soon as possible, really, or as urgently as you can. The purpose of those board reports is really to provide, not that any of them is any more important than the other, but this is an important one just as all the others are, because we're able to provide a real summary of your activity throughout the year, and really, sort of present that to the board and give the board an opportunity to read through that. The KC board report is always the heftiest. It's always got the most in it, and I'm always excited to present that to the board and to help show all of the efforts that are happening through our various KCs, whether that's people who are recognized through awards, whether those are through sponsored programs, whether those are through social media efforts and efforts that you make to engage your KC members nationally and regionally, and again, different elements that you take into account. So it's an opportunity to really summarize the efforts of the KC, and I think it's very important, obviously. So thanks again to those of you who have made an effort to get those in and put efforts towards those. If that's still outstanding, please get that to me as soon as possible. What happens, just to give you a sort of, I know when I was a KC chair, I always, not always, but occasionally would wonder, what happens to this thing when I submit it to these folks. So again, what I will do is really put that into a larger report, and I complete my own board report, and present that to the board. They have a chance to, the board members all have a chance to read all of your reports, and I make a point to highlight those the critical elements from the KC reports. I'm also looking for trends that are happening across the board. If we're needing to provide additional resources or efforts to improve the health of the KC program, those are things I'm being mindful of as I present it to the board. The board will meet immediately prior to the annual conference in Austin. We will also present action items, and that's why we request those from you. Again, whether those are new awards that will be proposed, or formally announcing and naming awards, things of that nature. So I know there are a number of action items that have been forwarded to me, and those are things that I really take into consideration and want to advocate strongly for. So just so you know what that looks like on the other end. Any questions for me on the spring board report?
Again, no questions in the chat box.
All right. So in terms of elections, that's, oh wait, did I mute myself? No, I didn't. Okay, sorry. In terms of the election aspect, so I what I'd like to do now is really share the election results with everybody. So I'm going to read through these right now. Before I get to reading the election results, I do want to just thank everybody for your participation in the election process. This is, as you've heard me say before, an incredibly important aspect for the health of the KC program. Building and sustaining your KC through leadership development and volunteer engagement is critical. And the way that we do that is important, and the way taking, especially in terms of the elections approach, making sure that our elections are fair and equitable and unbiased is also critical. And we do that, as you all know, through nominating committees and making sure that it's a sound process. So I appreciate everyone's attention to that and really applaud all of your efforts for that. I know that's just extremely important. And what that does and that leads to is a number of really strong ballots, and where a number of leaders are competing for leadership, and that's really exciting. I think it's exciting to see that people want to lead the KCs and the KC programs that they've found a home in and committed to. So I just want to make a note to talk about that and just extend my gratitude to everybody for the process, which is really important. And the leadership is, obviously we want good leaders to be in those elect roles. But the process is critical to make sure that again there's a pathway for leaders to advance within a KC and to be recognized and to continue their volunteer engagement. So it's just want to thank an effort of thanks. So I'm going to read through these, and I really just want to again, all these individuals have been notified. Individuals who did not win have also been notified. So I just want to please join me in congratulating these the winners of these elections and welcoming them to this group of KC leaders. They will sort of officially roll on the calls starting after the conference in April, and will spend their year in the elect role before rolling on to their chair roles next conference. So the African American KC, their co-chairs Prince Robertson and Janelle Love. The Asian Pacific Islander KC, API KC, Danielle Masuda and Shruti Desai. AER, Assessment, Evaluation, and Research, Kevin Grant and Darby Roberts. The Campus Safety KC will have Katie Treadwell as chair. Civic Learning and Democratic Engagement KC, the leaders of CLDE will be Michael McFadden and Lindsay Volker. Sorry, let me just keep scrolling down on my list here. Excuse me here. Yes, the Disability KC, DKC, the new chair will be Marie Pena. Indigenous Peoples KC, Tiffany Smith. Meta-Masculinities KC, Ji Zhao. The Multiracial KC has two co-chair elects, Jennifer Ellingwood and Erica Zamora. Parent and Family Relations KC will have one chair elect, that is Jessica Gooch. Spirituality and Religion in Higher Education KC, Amy Fisher is the chair elect. The Student Affairs Partnering with Academic Affairs KC will be led by two co-chairs elect, Carl Bell and Christina Hall Michael. The Student Athlete KC, I think this is maybe one where we've got somebody on the call. Victor Martinez will be the new co-chair elect. The Student Government KC will have two co-chairs elect, Jessica Ashcraft and James Tiger. The Technology KC will be led by the chair elect, James Quisenberry. And WISA, the Women in Student Affairs KC, has co-chairs-elect Ebony Turnbow and Natasha Turman. So again, hearty thanks to those individuals. You all know the work and dedication that's required to lead a KC. And so I'm really appreciative to these individuals for stepping up and being willing to engage in that work. And again, just hearty congratulations to them. Please, again, I know maybe you're clapping in your offices for those folks. So just join me in congratulating those folks and welcoming them to your KC leadership team and to our leadership team more broadly. Okay, any questions on election outcomes?
No, Matt, just so the group knows, all of those names will be in the minutes. So if you were furiously typing and wondering, oh, I missed someone, don't worry, we'll put them in the minutes.
Thanks, Monica. Okay, I'm going to turn over to Monica to talk about the annual conference.
Terrific, thank you. I did see a question about the election. So the elections message out to the whole membership will go out tomorrow. So that's February 19th. So you all are getting a little bit of a heads up on that, but it goes out to the membership tomorrow.
And I presume that will cover all elections.
It does. It will cover all of the elections updates. So yes. So if you are regional, the board chair elect. So annual conference. Actually, one other thing is that the agenda for the meeting is in the handout section. So I'm sorry, I didn't cover that in the technology piece orientation at the beginning of the meeting. So for the annual conference, I'm actually going to do I'm going to do a little point of privilege here and invite Trevette Webster, who's one of our co-chairs for the, or one of the members of the group that's organizing the community service project on site in Austin, asked to join us. And so I'm going to ask Trevette just to give a brief update and talk about that with the KC chairs, and then I'll jump into the other items. So Trevette, I'm about to unmute you. Okay, so Trevette, you should be able to speak and have everyone hear you.
Perfect. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted, again, I'll be brief, but wanted to say thank you for allowing us the opportunity to jump on the call to give a little bit of information about the community service project for this year's annual conference. So as I said, I am on the local experience team, specifically the subgroup around the community service project. And this year for the annual conference, we will be partnering with Caritas of Austin. Caritas of Austin, their mission is to prevent and end homelessness in Austin. Every day, there are about a little over 2,200 individuals on any given day that experience homelessness just in Austin alone, with some of those individuals actually being students at the universities and colleges in the Austin area. So we thought that this would be an amazing opportunity for us to not only help the community, but specifically help some of our students that we support as well. So Caritas of Austin, they support their mission through various comprehensive services such as stable housing, healthy food, education, employment, and then they do special assistance for veterans, and they consider success if a person who was homeless remains stable after they come in and help for 12 months. And so with that being said, we are putting forth a donation collection effort at the annual conference where we are asking individuals and organizations and institutions to support this initiative by bringing specific items, things such as non-perishable food items. We're collecting hygiene items. We are collecting a lot of different things. Let's see, first aid kits, cleaning supplies, creative kits, so that we can donate these items to Caritas of Austin to help support their initiative. So the call here today, or the ask today, is that you would just go back to your knowledge communities and your regions and just pass along the information about this community service project in hopes that you can help to encourage some individuals to consider bringing donated items. We're in the process of putting together a list of stores and places that individuals can go to in Austin once they get there if they would like to pick up some items. But a lot of the items on the list that we have are travel friendly. We know we wanted to make things that individuals can bring with them in their suitcase. And so a lot of the things are travel friendly, but again, we'll be putting together a list of stores that are in the area close to the convention center in case individuals want to purchase things at that point. Now, we are also going to take monetary donations. The link is not available yet, but we want to get the physical donations, but if that's not possible, Caritas of Austin will be collecting monetary donations through through a link that NASPA is going to set up. So again, that's still in the process, and we are hoping we will get you out an email. I know I'm kind of running through this, but we'll get an email sent out with some of this information so that you'll have that along with some of the website links, which also include information and steps on how to set up a donation drive at your campus if you are in the area where you can bring bulk items into Austin. So again, we will be providing more information on that, but just wanted to take the opportunity to very quickly let you all know what the Community Service Project was for the annual conference, and again, hope that you can support and help encourage others to support the initiative as well.
Thanks, Trevette. I'm not seeing any. Let's see. What is the name of the organization? Was the name? Could you cover
Sure. So the organization. Yep, the organization is Caritas of Austin, and that's C as in Charlie, A R as in Rita, I T as in Tom, A as in Apple, S as in Sam. So again, CARITAS of Austin, and make sure you put of Austin because there are a couple of different Caritas, but this one is specifically for Austin. So Caritas of Austin. And I don't think I said this, but of course we will have donation bins available in the Austin Austin Convention Center for when you arrive, and we'll show you arrows and walk you through where to check in and drop your donations at the annual conference.
Thank you so much, Trevette. Again, not seeing any other questions, but appreciate your time here, and we'll move on to some of the other items related to the annual conference.
Thank you very much again for the invite.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda is the NASPA and NASPA Foundation Awards reception. We've covered this, I think, in previous meetings, but I just want to make sure that people are aware of a different format that we're doing for recognizing volunteer leadership, volunteers, and doing our awards. This does not in any way affect whether or not you all, as individual KCs, do your own awards receptions. But all of the KC awards will be integrated into the program. So they'll be announced and or on screens. They're still working out the program itself. But the NASPA and NASPA Foundation Awards reception is taking place Monday evening of the conference from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. I wish I could tell you the location, but I will put that in the minutes. I don't have it in the back of my head right now. But we invite you to attend. We invite the people who have won awards from your KCs to attend as well. And again, we'll have all of those awards on screen, and or they'll be recognized as a part of the program. But it was just a way of kind of highlighting the work of the KCs and making sure that people outside of your KC communities are aware of the great work that's being done across the membership. I don't see any questions about that. Okay. So the newly elected KC Leader Orientation takes place Saturday from 8 until 3 p.m. You all, hopefully this is on your radar if you have not attended this KC Leader Orientation before. We know some years somebody attends in the year before, but if you didn't attend this last year and you're a new KC leader, you need to attend this year. So we have information about that. If you have questions, please let Matt and me know. Matt, anything you want to add about that?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. No, again, in terms of the those requisite meetings, the newly elected KC leader orientation, the all KC leader. I mean, really just let us know. There may be some um, chairs elect who are starting. So if you're a chair elect and you are starting your term at the conference and you did not attend orientation last year, you are certainly welcome to attend. We just need to know.
Okay, great. We also have the All Knowledge Community Leader meeting on Saturday from 4 until 5:30. So it follows that training. So that's, and it says it in the agenda, but I'm just going to verbally reinforce that all chairs, co-chairs, chairs-elect, co-chairs-elect, and regional KC coordinators should attend that meeting. Again, if you have questions about that, please let Matt and me know. And I'm seeing some questions here, so I'm just going to move through these conference agenda items, and then I'll come back to the questions because I want to make sure I don't miss any details here. The regional KC coordinator meeting is on Monday from 9 until 10 a.m. and this is only for the regional KC co-coordinators. And then the Knowledge Community Regional Rep training is on Monday, March 30th from 10 until noon. And so this is open to newly appointed and regional KC regional representatives. So that's the training pieces and meeting pieces. If you have questions about any of these, please let me know. For the communities fair, just wanted to remind everyone, again, we are moving the communities fair, which used to be on Monday evening, but now, of course, we have the NASPA and NASPA Foundation Awards reception on Monday. So we are moving the communities fair to Tuesday, March 31st from 12:15 to 1:15. Essentially, we took out a general interest session, one of the concurrent session blocks. So this is really the only thing that's conference programmed happening at this time. And so, you know, you all, I know many of you are prepping swag, you know, you're ordering swag items and those kinds of things. So if you have questions about any of that process, please let me know. Actually, I'll just cover that really quickly here. If you are ordering items for the conference from your KC budget, please work with a vendor. And then once you have a proof of, you know, if it's your award or a swag item, you will then send me the proof. I'll take a look at it. Mostly I'm just checking to make sure that the logo is the approved logo. And, you know, I expect you all are looking at things like spelling of names and things like that. And then I'm looking at the price. So I'll need the invoice and the proof. Once I approve that, you can either work directly with the vendor to order and then submit a receipt and for reimbursement to me, or you can work with me to contact the vendor and then I can charge it to a NASPA credit card. So that's the process there for the for orders for your awards and for your for anything that you might want to have available at the communities fair. In our December meeting, we had a couple of KCs come and talk about interesting ways that they invite. We had a KC spotlight, and they talked about how they, you know, get people to come to their tables and really engage. And so, if you want a copy of that recording from that meeting, or the notes from the meeting, let me know and I can send those along to you. But just some really interesting ideas from some of the KCs that have worked well in the past. Okay, so that's the agenda items there. Matt, anything to add there while I look through the questions?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself again. No, I don't. I think you have covered it pretty well.
Okay.
In terms of the updates, but I'm sure there are questions.
Okay, so now I'm just going to go back through the questions. A couple of them have to do with elections, so I just want to, sorry to have missed these. So we had the question about, election results. I answered that one, so those will be public tomorrow. Notifications have gone out to all of the elected KC chairs, and so so they are aware of that, but the kind of the broader public notification hasn't gone out. So that'll go out tomorrow. So Leanna, I hope that answers your question. let's see. We have, got that one. So the award recipients, information, so the question was, will award recipients receive invitations to the NASPA and NASPA Foundation Awards reception? It's a mouthful. I don't know the answer to that question. If they'll will hear individually about that, I believe so, but I will double check. But in any case, I think it would be helpful. Not, I think it would be helpful. It would be helpful if you would let the recipients of your KC Awards know that they are invited and more than welcomed at that broader awards reception on Monday evening. So I will ask the question about whether or not they're getting individual invitations, but even so, I think it's helpful for them to hear from you. So thank you for that question, Susie. Let's see. Will we get written communication for us to confirm the awards for our KC are correct? This is a question from Victor. You should have received, in December, I believe we let you all know that the awards that you submitted had been approved by the board. And so if there's another question about that, please just talk with me offline, because I might be missing the intention of this question. But the awards that you all submitted were approved by the board, and so you should feel free to move forward with those as your awards. We do have a question if you're helping with the training. So we did have some people who offered to share their experience as experienced KC leaders in the training, and Matt and I will get back to you about kind of where to plug in the agenda there. I apologize that we haven't gotten that to you a little bit earlier. There's a question here, Matt, it might be one for you to answer. What is covered in the newly elected KC leader orientation? Do you want to quickly just kind of summarize what's covered there?
Sure, and I'll touch base too on the awards piece. So again, if you submitted an award, it was approved. Now, if you have questions about what awards you submitted, because that was again, many KCs sort of delegate that to different individuals or committees or things like that. I'm happy to. I have that list handy. Though I'm not going to get into it on the call. We've got that ready, and are happy to sort of move through that. So if you have questions about what was submitted, please let us know. In terms of the KC leader training, this would be the orientation. So we certainly talk about the role of knowledge communities in NASPA. We talk about the again, especially the connection with regions, the regional co-coordinators, the regional representatives. We will talk about the substantive aspect of creating and sharing knowledge and the strategies that KCs should engage in to do that. We'll certainly touch on a number of sort of, I would say, more technical or logistic type things, such as budgets, funding, using tools to communicate with members, things of that nature, timelines, board reports. We sort of cover all of that. And we'll talk about strategic planning and how to continue engaging in that, considering NASPA is in that process. Always time, and again, we'll be working with a number of current KC leaders, and I think largely that's the best source of knowledge is our current leadership or outgoing leadership. So that's not an hour by hour review, but that'll give you hopefully a sense of what we'll be talking about. There's also a number of content that KC leaders have a chance to access ahead of time, such as again, especially around some of the technical aspects of budgets, fundraising, special interest funds, sort of a year in the life of what the life cycle of a KC looks like from starting from the conference on. So hopefully it gives you a sense of that.
Thanks, Matt. No, I think let me do one more time to. So one other question from Mitchell was, for chairs at the new orientation, will they have time to kind of do some planning with their co-chair partners? or is that time they should plan separately?
That's a good question. I'd say generally speaking, I don't know that we'll have dedicated planning time, but we will. A lot of what we have in mind for the training is less me and or others talking at you, and really more, again, idea generation and thinking about how to do things. So I think in that way, there will be time to get a sense of what plans should be put in place. So you both and perhaps not, again, dedicated time that there's time for sitting down and planning, but I think we will have time to sit together by KCs and engage in conversation around best practices and ways to do things. I think it will prompt those planning opportunities.
Great, thank you. Okay, that's the questions.
All right. Well, I'll
okay.
take us along in our agenda and talk a little bit about the KC online publication, which is, I know we've been a big focus for many of us over the past several months, and much thanks to everybody for their work on preparing an article for the publication committee and leadership to shepherd this through. And so again, much thanks to everybody. So once we are still a bit in sort of the editing phase, and we've got an external reviewer who is kind of putting the publication together, and so there's a similar look and feel. So you have a sense of what it looks like. When the publication is finished, then we will we'll certainly announce that and offer our thanks to the publication committee. I will let everybody on this call, or again, chairs, co-chairs, vice chairs, and elect persons to announce. I will announce that the publication is complete, and again, that once that's ready, I will let everybody know. What I would ask is that all of your what I'd ask is that KCs individually, if you could share that publication on your channels, social media, blogging, emails, the communication channels that you regularly use, that would be really appreciated. We will certainly do a blog post. Amy Hounstein and I will have written that, and we will post that to announce the publication. But if you could also share that as well. I mean, presumably you would share it to talk about your own KC's article, and that's exciting. But also, it's really important to just share the knowledge that is represented in the online publication. So that's my ask for everybody, is that when we have that, we will communicate it to you, and we ask that you turn that around and share that via your social media channels, your other communication channels. Questions there?
No. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes. Estimated timeline of when the publication will be ready. You know what? I knew someone was going to ask that. Susie, I'm so glad you asked that question. I will track that down in just a moment. We were just emailing about this the other day, but it will be about the week before the conference. But I can be more specific. Oh, here's the timeline. Okay. Final publication. Yes, so it is around March, probably 15th, 16th is when the publication will be final.
Yep.
So, yes.
Thanks for asking. That's a great question.
Yeah, that is.
So again, in between now and then, we are in still, we've got drafts being produced, proofing of the drafts, requests, any edits that need to be done. So we are, that's kind of what the phase we're in right now. And then we're working with the folks who are producing that document as well, and working with the publication committee. So that's the space we're in right now.
And I'm just going to put in a plug for next year's publication. The people who do the editing for this are so helpful. So the publication committee is terrific. So I just want to, again, put in a plug. The publication itself is amazing. I've had a chance to look at most of the articles, and that's really possible because of the contributions of the editors. I mean, the authors, and then the people who really work with the authors to refine and prepare them for publication. So just putting an early plug out, we'll put one out in the fall. But if you'd like to be a part of the publication committee, I would highly encourage you to do so. This is it's a peer review process, and it's really interesting to be on both sides of that. So if you have something interesting that you want to write, be thinking about that. But also if you have something, if you'd like to contribute as a volunteer editor, we'd also appreciate your involvement in that way.
Excellent plug, Monica. Well done. Okay, moving us along in our agenda. The updating board effect workrooms. This is especially related to transition as excuse me, if you are transitioning leadership, if you are not transitioning leadership, it's always important to update your board effect workroom. That is with important documents, transition materials, things of that nature. But especially as we move towards the conference, please make sure to do that. Please make sure to get those materials in that space. If you need assistance with that, please let us know. Again, there have been a few trainings related to that, so we will be able to provide information on how to navigate board effect, but please make sure you are updating that site with the relevant information. I know some of you may use other forms of record keeping, but it really is important to keep those official records in that space, because NASPA maintains board effect, and we do not maintain, nor should we, any Gmails or Google Docs or Drive account or things like that. So please use and update the board effect workroom, especially if you're moving to a leadership transition.
Okay, so no questions coming up yet. Okay.
All right, so I hope that
Denny is on. Denny is on.
So I will turn it over to Denny at this point,
Amazing.
our public policy liaison.
Okay. Denny, you should be unmuted now.
Hello, everybody, and happy Tuesday, post Valentine's Day and all of that. Generally speaking, from a 30,000 foot level, I'm going to defer to Monica. I think the handout may be in board effect. If not, I can have it posted there by the end of the day. But the general topics of discussion these days are, of course, finance related pieces, the idea of free college, who's going to pay for it, borrowed defense, guarantees to protect student loans, borrowers, institutional finance, the tuition costs. Still seeing a lot of conversation about free speech along the way. There has been a significant discussion lately about the travel, especially with the corona, and I'm going to butcher it, I apologize, the coronavirus, and some of the travel ban questions that surfaced earlier of President Trump's tenure. But probably one, if it has not popped up in the last couple of days, it is due really just any time now. The guidance from the Department of Education on new Title IX related criteria related guidance is due out really anytime within the end of the month, early March, somewhere in this window of the next 6 weeks. So that is something that you can keep an eye out for, but really not a lot of big change from a 30,000 foot perspective. We're still seeing a lot of the topics, and I suspect we'll see a lot of these same topics through the remainder of the year as the race for the Democratic nomination heats up and the election cycle continues through on the way to November. So that is the 30,000 foot 5-minute version. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to entertain those. But like I said, if my handout is not in board effect already, I'll defer to Monica on that. I can see that it gets posted there by the end of the day. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Denny. And that's actually on us. I will I'll take what you sent and incorporate it into the minutes. But if there's anything you have that's been updated since then, feel free to send it along to me, and I'll get it in the minutes. Thanks, Denny.
Thank you.
Okay, not seeing any other questions for Denny. Matt, I'll turn it back to you.
All right. Let's see. the only other item on the agenda is a review of upcoming deadlines and other important dates. So you'll see coming up in just a few days here, the NASPA Foundation Collaboration Grant deadline is the 21st, and we have covered that on previous calls. So if you need information about that, I think it's a great opportunity to encourage collaboration across constituent groups, which is wonderful from the NASPA Foundation. Additionally, and this has been distributed to those new chairs or co-chairs elect that I announced earlier, but the upcoming call schedule for the next essentially academic year, you will see those calls listed in the agenda and on the minutes as well. So please plan to put those into your calendar. Again, the chairs and co-chairs elect have also received those separately, though I'm sure they would appreciate a reminder if they're in your KC. So those are the big sort of upcoming deadlines and other important dates to note.
Thanks, Matt. A couple of questions came up. So the conference schedule on the website, I don't have an update on that. I've heard soon for the past couple of weeks. So for now, please continue to use the app. I apologize that I know people want to create like schedule and kind of be able to see everything on a screen. So I will share that that's still a need and a desire from folks. But for now, please continue to use the conference app. The leadership rosters and when those are due to NASPA, I don't have these deadlines right on the tip of my tongue, but Matt might. Matt, do you know when leadership? Then I will put it in the minutes. I will put that as a upcoming deadline.
Typically, again, we know that from a leadership roster perspective, that this is something that, especially for cases where there's leadership change, we understand that that those things happen, and from a sort of just a turnover perspective, that is not to be assumed necessarily, but to be expected. So that is certainly reasonable. So I think, as I recall, last year, the rosters were due on May 15th. So we'll go with that.
They will be due May 15th.
Barring any additional, again, we understand that, especially for those leadership or for those cases where leadership is changing over, that we understand there's some time to fill roles, understand what that looks like, so on and so forth. So that's just a known issue, but we will get that information out. And if that date is different, we will certainly get that information out.
Okay, thank you. Had a deadline about constituent guides. Those were due last week. And if you are still outstanding on your constituent guide, if you can please get it in as soon as possible, that's terrific. Just so you know, as we receive them, we are putting them into a folder that our Marcoms team is then going to use to create the constituent guides on the app. So as soon as you get those in, the better. They were due last Friday. So if you haven't turned yours in, please send that to me as soon as possible.
And I acknowledge, again, everybody received communication around this, acknowledge the shortcomings around making sure that you have the right information to be able to populate the constituent guides, and primarily that's being able to access room locations for events. So apologies for that, and we will endeavor to do better next time.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not any for the group. I will, a couple of them that I'm following up with individually. So.
Great. Yeah, if you have individual questions, please do reach out. Otherwise, we will adjourn this call, and we will see you hopefully some of you in Austin, although I'll also want to recognize that some KCs will be participating through the Connected Conference. So really excited about both of those opportunities coming up at the end of March.
Awesome. So I will send minutes. There are a couple of questions that I have in here that I'm going to try and find out the answers to, and then I'll send out the minutes along with the meeting recording. So if you know your co-chair was not able to attend and you want to be able to share information, you can do that. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it.
All righty.
Have a
Bye.
good week, and we'll see you in Austin or in the Connected Conference. Thanks all.
Perfect. Bye.
Bye.